Welcome back to Marvel Maniac, an MCU after show. This is your host, Eric Cicada, aka Mr. Honest, back with you for a landmark MCU film that we've yet to discuss. There's a lot to say about this film, and I'm not going to go rambling off the beginning, but I did bring in a special guest, one of my best friends, TJ Galooly. He's back. How you doing, TJ?
Hey, what's up, Mr. Honest? I'm doing good, buddy. What's going on?
Well, Age of Ultron is what's going on, and I'm glad to hear you're doing good. And we are going to be talking about that today, breaking it down, seeing how it aged like wine, or is it just the worst Marvel movie of all time? This episode discussion will be very conversational. Like I have things that I want to riff on, and I know TJ has notes, right, TJ?
Of course.
And yeah, I mean, I don't. The first thing I just want to say about Age of Ultron before jumping in is it's like an ultimate Iron Man movie in a way, and I love that this movie kind of is the in between of everything. So like we got our core team of Avengers in the middle of all the Avenger movies. It's very episodic. What are your thoughts on the movie before we dive into it?
You know, my first thoughts, I haven't seen a real Avengers movie in a while. Since I've done any rewatches. Right. I gotta say, there's like something to it. It's got like a magic to it that we just haven't seen in the MCU because we haven't had a Avengers movie. And right. So like my first thoughts is like, where has this been? We need like.
Are you saying like the present day?
Yes. For
real. I said this on Thunderbolt's reaction that it's the first Avengers movie that's coming out since Endgame because Defenders gives me that Avengers vibe. I think they're going to start doing more like collaborative. You ever hear of this Midnight Suns or something like that?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think they're working on that. So like, I feel that they know they need team up movies. I agree with you. I thought Secret Invasion should have been the next Avenger holdover movie for Phase 4. It would have been the perfect little story for an Avengers movie. But
I agree. It's got everything there. It's got everything you need for an Avengers movie, and they just they snooze.
Yeah, and you know what? They're going to correct it. I believe they will correct it. They're going to go back to the drawing board, and I'll just say if Agatha all along is a sign of good things to come, that's great because it's been a great show so far. No spoilers, but go check out yesterday's episode. I was really stoked on Mike. Like I was very loud and exciting. So we're gonna go into the movie now a little bit. I remember when this movie came out, TJ, that I actually saw it with you and Dustin in theaters in an IMAX theater.
Yes, I remember.
We were a tiny little bit late. I don't think any of us knew what we'd missed, so it didn't matter. But we did miss like a lot of action in the beginning. I was later to find.
I can't even remember missing the beginning, but I believe it. It was such a long time ago.
So like you were kind of saying something like this. This movie, I don't know if we were talking about this at the beginning of this episode 3 minutes ago or on the phone a week ago when we were talking about Ultron, but it kind of sits at like a center point of the MCU where when it came out, there were so many like story threads they were opening up. It seemed kind of pandery. But now since you've been on that journey coming back, it's kind of like this movie's gold. It's got our original Avengers, a brand new threat, and great character development for Iron Man. Like, do you remember your initial thoughts? Did you feel like it was an awesome movie, or were you a little lost in the weeds of it?
You know, at the time, I thought it was good. Not fantastic.
Right.
But since then, I feel like it has aged quite well.
Yeah.
Especially with recent MCU project. I feel like you said, it's basically gold. There's not like any weak scenes or, plots that are, kind of half-hearted or whatever. It's all hammered out. It's a good story.
Marvel set it up. Like, they set it up so well. Like, the beginning scene, them attacking a Hydra base because they got a hold of the scepter. Because why? Well, in between the Avengers movies, the Hydra was revealed to be Shield, and literally that's the Avengers finishing up the job of taking out Hydra bases. So it's like we start off with this Avengers mission, which I just love so much. That iconic shot of them all running through the woods, and then there's that one shot. You see it a lot, but like it's like a frame out of a comic book. All of the Avengers are in a line, like in slow motion, like doing their attacks, and then it breaks off, and they do my favorite thing that they do in Avengers movies is like it cuts to like Thor helping out Cap, then it like follows the camera to Iron Man going straight up to the base. It's like so much happening for the beginning of a movie, and I thought it was a pretty good change of pace, and just start the movie at such a fast pace.
Definitely. Yeah, everyone is flexing their special talents, and you're quickly reminded, like, oh, this is the team right here.
Heck yeah. And it's like, even now, it's like, oh, it's a team of the core heroes from the first movie with a few additions that are naturally written in. And we get to meet Wanda Maximoff and Pietro Maximoff right at the very beginning of this movie. And I'd say this is another thing about my opinion that changed. I didn't like Quicksilver in this movie when it came out because I was watching the other X-Men movies, and the other Quicksilver, like the way they filmed the scenes, were like pretty much iconic, you know?
Right.
But
like moving things slightly and having big ramifications.
Yeah, he's a little more powerful in that sense. I wouldn't say, I don't know, completely different characters. So, like, I didn't like him, but it's been a long time. I've seen this movie a couple times, and now he's someone who I kind of, like, mourn for a little bit. I'm like, he could have had some good stories in the MCU. They really...
That's what I'm mourn for more than anything is, like, you know, the character was fine, but, like, the raw potential of Quicksilver is, like, so fun. So many cool ideas, so many cool, like, you know, have him throw, you know, Captain America's shield, and you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
so many cool ideas they could do with it. I kind of felt like the grape died on the vine. I was like, damn, it's kind of a shame.
Wait, what is a shame? What is a shame?
That Pietro, he only got one movie.
Oh, that he died like that in the first movie. Yeah, you know, it makes me think and or wonder how far ahead they had plans for the Scarlet Witch. You know what I mean? They're setting her up to be an Avenger in this movie, but she definitely is the second antagonist along with Quicksilver up until they realize that Ultron wants to blow up the whole world, and they kind of have to turn on him. They don't have any choice. But I kind of love that Wanda and Vision are both introduced in this movie. And there was a part at towards the end of the movie, I asked if you could like pick out that like stood out to you. Did anything stick out to you?
You know, probably the most memorable part for me is Vision's birth.
Oh, that is so powerful.
You know, just Thor busting in, coming in to charge him up real quick, and like just like the silence as he like emerges, and everyone's thinking like, oh man, is this like Ultron or is it Jarvis? It's a very cool moment. And then of course, you know, he casually picks up Mjolnir, which is like awesome.
Yes, that is a great scene. It's like, we have to go. I don't know how I can gain your trust. And he's able to wield the hammer, and everyone knows he's worthy, and we're good to go. My favorite part about that scene is, well, I love how he looks out at the city, and he doesn't really know what he is or who he is. He has to process. And Thor's the first one to go to talk to him. And he admires Thor so much that like he looks at him, and then he like grows an outfit inspired by.
It's pretty cool.
That moment is really special to me, and they shouldn't have given him the cape in the What If episode. I don't mean to be I don't mean to be like going too hard on What If, but in What If, like, he has the cape like Vision, but Vision only had the cape because of Thor. Yeah, I kind of love what they did with Tony in this movie, because he's such a complex character, and we just learned in Iron Man 3 all the PTSD that he had gone through by lifting that rocket into a wormhole. And He looks like at the beginning of this movie he's in pretty good mental condition. Like he's pure Iron Man. But when he gets that vision from Scarlet Witch, that changes everything. And it's the Mind Stone also there in that scepter, pretty much pushing him to make this Ultron. You know what I mean?
Definitely. No, the visions that, Scarlet Witch gives all of them have really interesting ramifications for each character.
That Scarlet, well, when she manipulated all of them, are you saying?
Right.
Yeah, dude. Well, that leads to just a quick question, like, what was your most standout moment in the movie? Like, for example, for me, when I went back to watch it this time, I just loved the Hulkbuster fight. I thought that was so sick, and Hulk is so bad, and I gotta say that's like one of my favorite standout scenes. Do you have any?
Yeah, probably still the Vision being born.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I cut you off on that. Were you still talking about that?
Oh no, that's basically it. Yeah, that was definitely my standout moment of the movie.
That makes me really happy. Because we love Vision. Like I know you love Vision. He's a great character. I like that he has Jarvis's voice. He's literally the guy who voiced Jarvis.
Yeah,
that's just insane. I don't know, like that kind of continuity is just crazy. Like,
and then Jarvis was Tony's dad's driver, right?
Yeah, yeah, dude.
Game.
Yeah.
The legacy continues.
If you watch Agent Carter, the series, which about a year ago I did watch, and it definitely exceeded my expectations. It's not as good as Agatha, but Jarvis is like a main character in that show. So for the people who had watched Agent Carter and Endgame and saw him, it was a huge Easter egg. Like if you were a fan of that, but I didn't know that. And that's the best part about these movies is that they write them to continue the story, but they also write them so a general audience member can come in, check out the movie, and it makes sense. Because not everybody can see every Avenger and every Marvel movie that there was. So the movie's got to stand out on its own, TJ, I know you took notes on the episode, and I'm kind of rummaging through my notes. Can I hand you the wheel for a bit and give me just some of what you got written down?
I'd love that. Okay, so
let's go.
Something that I didn't really originally like was Banner and Natasha's relationship.
Right.
I'm curious how you felt about it being introduced in this movie.
Just like you, I did not like it at first. Why? Because she flirts with everybody. And I mean, it's acknowledged in the movie, but I even remember thinking she's doesn't always need to have a love interest, Scarlett Johansson, just because she's beautiful. She's one of the Avengers. Not all the Avengers have someone, but then you think about it, I think most of the Avengers do have someone except for Hulk. Retrospect, didn't like it, but now I do like it a lot, and it makes me want that. And I wish, I wish we got a little bit more of that later. And I don't know why Hulk decided that he needed to leave, and he stayed Hulk for all those years. I'm thinking I don't know how many years, but he goes off. I don't know how he ends up on a planet in a plane. I don't know. How does he end up over all the way to Sakaar? I have no idea. But
this is kind of going to the end, but I do have a question in regards to that. Okay,
we can talk about any part of the movie in any order. This is people who've seen this movie 5 times or listened to this, and we've both seen it a lot. This movie's almost 10 years old. We could jump all over the place. This movie, it's wide for the taking. Just talk about anything.
At this point, it's established that Banner and Hulk are 2 separate people, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so when Hulk leaves on the Quinjet and he turns off the video with Natasha, that's not Banner at all, right? So Banner never decides to leave. And so that whole time that he's on, I can't remember the name of the planet,
Sakaar.
Banner's last memory, Sakaar. Banner's last memory is Age of Ultron, right before he wakes up in Ragnarok.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because that's the next time that Hulk
Shows up.
is out of the Hulk form, right?
Yeah, it's been years. I don't think he ever leaves Hulk form from when he left on the Quinjet. Is that what you're...
And so, like, it really leaves a lot of their relationship kind of unfinished. You know what I mean? Like,
so true.
They never broke up. She still liked him. He still liked her. And then I feel like it was just never resolved.
And then she died, which isn't going to be permanent. There's going to be a Black Widow entering the picture, whether it's a new one or the journey of Cap bringing back the stones, which makes me want it to end while they're dancing and the TVA comes in and takes Cap and Peggy and thrusts them back into the narrative. You know, the romance between Bruce and Nat needed more in later movies, and they were scared to continue it because there were different writers. I'm guessing. Like, I don't mean to talk like out of universe explanation, but there is a very subtle, quick moment when Bruce returns in Infinity War, and he has like a look with Nat. It's the best they got for us. You know what I mean?
No, I kind of just feel like in this movie, it kind of came out of nowhere, and then it kind of disappeared out of nowhere. Do you know what I mean?
Hey, big guy, the sun's getting real low.
At the time, I didn't really care for it, and now I care for it even less, to be honest.
Oh, dang! You're doubling down. You're double dipping down. I can respect that. Yeah, it kind of it makes me want more later just because of all the setup of it. Like, why? But there are two characters. If you try and take try and like just devil's advocate. There is a romance, but why is the romance? Well, they're both outcasts.
Several movies, you know, it could have been like, aren't they type thing, but it was just like one kind of weird movie about it. I don't know.
Yeah, and it was an Avengers movie. Yeah, I agree. You can sway me very easily, and that is a very good reason to be like, what?
How about this? I got another question for you.
Sure, I like you in the driver's seat. Let me know when you need me to like take the wheel again, all right?
Sure, buddy. Okay, so I want to talk about the hallucinations that Wanda gives the team. And
yes.
Like, it seems like they actually have truth in them. Like, they are the future. Like, all right, I'm going to kind of go through them. So, and like, even if it's not the future or whatever, another movie or something else has always addressed each of them. So
true. Let's go down the list. That sounds great.
So Natasha has her Red Room vision, and that's visited again in Black Widow movie. That's completely resolved.
They totally even use the same footage.
Right. Steve has a vision of his last dance with Peggy, the one that he never got, and he actually does get that in Endgame.
Oh, I love
Thor
that.
Has a vision about the destruction of Asgard, which is directly happens in Thor Ragnarok.
And Heimdall is on a different level like than we've seen him to this point. He's just crazy. Heimdall is so crazy when he like from that vision. He's like, "Open your eyes!" He like, grabs his face. Like he's almost like scary.
And then the last one is Tony's, which everyone dies. The whole team dies in his vision, which is like kind of similar to what happens in Infinity War.
Endgame, man. So, that shield is broken.
My main question is: do you think Wanda has any powers to predict the future, or is this just something that so happened to line up?
You're asking if she's handpicking these scenes to get in their head, right?
So, let's do Thor. So basically, Thor actually like continues his vision afterwards,
right?
And it kind of leads you to believe that it's like a vision of the future, and it's not like some hallucination that Wanda gave him.
It's also their worst nightmares and stuff like that. Like, it's the worst possible scenario. Iron Man is Earth getting invaded. He can't put a suit of armor around the world, and he sees the world being invaded by the Chitauri. Then for Hulk, he actually is living his worst dream reality and destroying cities. Nat, I mean, you learn about what they did to the Black Widows in Black Widow. They did some terrible things to anyone who was a Black Widow, including Nat. So just that flashback there was almost foreshadowing the past because Black Widow was a prequel in a way. Mm-hmm. Thought that was kind of cool. And who else? Oh, I like how Hawkeye gets Wanda, because in the last movie we don't get a lot of Hawkeye, and up to this point we haven't gotten that much of Hawkeye. So they do an extra little bit of homage to this character in this movie. And right as Wanda's about to play with his mind, he like throws, I think he like jabs an arrow with his own hand on her head that shocks her.
Like an electric arrow to her face.
Yeah, he's like, no, I'm not going to do this again. And he's the one who kind of has to save the team, as Tony Stark is chasing a version of Ultron, and he says, I'm already there, and you might want to check on your green friend. If he doesn't say that, he should have. But this is the part where the Hulk goes crazy. And honestly, I'm surprised this isn't like one of the things they talked about in Civil War that like the Avengers did. Dropping of the city probably did take the cherry on the cake, though, you know.
I do feel like they definitely like blame Wanda more. Am I wrong for thinking that? Like Wanda's like in trouble.
Who blames Wanda for what?
Because she's like, you know, I can't remember the next movie, but she's like locked in Avengers Tower, right? Because she's like considered dangerous.
In Civil War, no. Well, it's the Sokovia Accords.
Oh, that's right. That was a different explosion. Okay,
that's in Civil War, and she accidentally blows up a building by complete accident. That's the thing that really sets it off. Like that, you're right. That is the thing that absolutely sets it off.
But you make a good point that like Hulk is like, you know, everyone kind of just forgets about him like destroying that whole city.
When Iron Man brings him to that building, the last thing he does is I'm sorry, but do you see the destruction that Iron Man caused when he threw Hulk through that building? It looked like a terrorist attack. You cut to people acting like it's one. I think once they talk about Sokovia, it's probably about the whole instance. Iron Man really is paying his dues and learning big lessons in this movie. Like, you see something like Veronica, the Hulk Buster. You think that thing could take the Hulk out. And they just go toe-to-toe. They go toe-to-toe for like 10 minutes.
No, that was a great fight. You know,
go sleep.
That I really enjoyed recently that I kind of forgot about. There's like a moment where Thor and Hulkbuster, like they have like a sonic boom when they both like their fists collide. So cool.
Really?
I also love that.
I thought you said Thor, but it was Iron Man.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, don't be sorry. I was just trying to think of what part you were talking about. But keep going.
No, and it was cool to see like Tony's preparedness with the Hulkbuster, and he has like that. It's like some sort of drone cage that drops it down around him. I'm like, man, if that can't contain him, I don't know what could.
Dude.
Like
give me a hand.
Like,
and then
he attaches his hand into his. It's just so smart. It's just like top tier Iron Man thinking ahead with like holding on to Hulk's fists and containing him. Just always one step ahead.
That was sick when he like had the vacuum hand. It reminds you of one of those little finger puppet things where you put both your fingers in. You can't get them out. Yeah, that was pretty crazy, that scene, and there were ramifications, and I think that might fall even a little bit back into what you were asking about Hulk and the romance, and the whole situation is about them running away together. But think about it, like Hulk wants to run away. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of hinted at the whole movie. So I don't know if Hulk and Banner are on the same side about doing this. But it does seem kind of in character for how Banner was acting during the movie. You know, I've always wondered if Smart Hulk was Bruce's cover for locking the other Hulk away inside somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, I think he's got to come back.
Yeah, interesting idea. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with Hulk in the future, especially now that they introduced Scar. Like, is Hulk retired now? Because we got She-Hulk too. Is he kind of just retired? I don't know.
I hope not. I would even hope they have a World War Hulk. I've heard online. World War Hulk is this crazy story where like Hulk gets all these extra powers. I don't know. I don't read the comics specific, but it's
it's pretty messed up. I know a little bit about it. It's
you
like basically Hulk, and I think I'm not sure if it's She-Hulk, but another Hulk. They bang, and they have like incestuous Hulk babies, and it's a real mess.
That's great. Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna end up doing that, but they do have the Hulk does have a kid from the last episode of She-Hulk. They just threw that in there, and then we'll deal with this later. We're just gonna give him a kid, and we'll just wrap that up in a couple of years. You know, we haven't talked about it in 2 years. Like, come on. I'm not critical of Marvel, but sometimes when we're having these conversations, I feel like I'm like, okay, I have to say something on that. You know, Ultron himself, voiced by James Spader, I thought was a great choice. I like him. I knew him only really from The Office, but apparently he's in like a lot of movies and stuff.
Yeah, same.
And his voice is really cool. Did I say James Spader? It's James Spader, right?
You did. Mm-hmm. You know, I do. Let me say one thing about the title of the movie.
Yes.
It's a little bit misleading, don't you think?
Yes. Yeah.
Age of Ultron, more like 2 days of Ultron.
Days of Ultron. Yeah. Unless it means like Age of Ultron and it's referencing that Vision was born a few days ago, but it wasn't. Like, you can just say that, but it's meant to sound like exactly what you said. Like, you know what really gives the Age of Ultron the true Age of Ultron treatment? You know what I'm going to say? Marvel's What If.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's the only time when we actually saw an Age of Ultron on screen. You know, that was a real Age of Ultron.
That was crazy, and I don't think season 2 topped that. And I wonder if I should go back and talk about those episodes because there's some pretty good shows in there. I might do it. Maybe I'll do it around Christmas time, and on the year anniversary of each episode, I will cover one a day, just like they did. That'd be insane,
Nice.
man. Sorry, folks. We're a little distracted because of me. Even though I have outlines and stuff ready, I talked to my buddy TJ, and I could just ramble all day. So we're at the Hulkbuster fight. Wanda, my idea is, I don't think she can see the future. I think she knows how to manipulate her magic to show them exactly what their worst fear or to draw something out that hasn't been drawn out yet. Like, I think her magic is so powerful. It's from the Mind Stone itself. So it's Infinity Stone powers. I don't think she has full control to like she doesn't know what their worst fears are. She doesn't know about the Last Dance with Cap, but she knows like the button to press. Let's just say.
Right. No, you make a good point. I think you're absolutely right. I think it's less of actually seeing the future and more of like tapping into their worst fears. So I think you make a good point.
Yeah, I mean, it's not confirmed. It's not confirmed, but what? Let's just talk WandaVision. She does that to like 100 people. We'll talk about that again another day. WandaVision's crazy. That's why I like this movie. Though, my favorite part, subtly, one of them is when the city's dropping to the ground, and Wanda is like at the core of the city, devastated about Pietro, and she's going down with the city, like, no doubt. And you're like, oh no, she's gonna die too. And then who comes along to save her? Vision. And he picks her up, lifts her in his arms like a true superhero, and he takes her off and flies away with her. And it happens pretty fast though. But I'm like, wow, that's the beginning of WandaVision. Like, that's the beginning of their arc at the end of this movie. It's just like they knew what they were doing with that too, because they have roadmaps and stuff. I just thought that was a really touching moment for me as like a fan coming back to the movie, seeing that they always had like kind of like a romantic start. It just, I like that continuity. I really dig it.
No, that's a nice catch. Honestly, I didn't even really catch it, but that's just another way that, you know, they took that one scene and they ran with it. It's like, oh, you know, why don't we extrapolate from that? You know,
it's so fast. It's do you have any thoughts of this the chase scene where they're trying to get the the body that Ultron was creating, the one that eventually becomes Vision. It's like Captain America, Hawkeye, and Black Widow.
Definitely. It's a cool chase. It's a cool chase scene.
I like that they're fighting on top of a truck.
Definitely. And yeah, I love when Ultron is like realizes that Captain America's on the truck, and he's like, "Oh,
you leave me alone." He's like, "Leave me alone." I love the line when Cap's like still chasing him, and Hawkeye's like, "You're no match for him, Cap," and he's like, "Thanks, Barton." Like he's like literally, I don't know if that's what he meant to say. Like,
I think they kind of made Barton a dick in this. I could be wrong, but there was like several. There was at least one scene where he jokes about killing Pietro. I was like,
it's moments before his actual death.
I'm like, why would you say that?
And it's a funny little moment we're supposed to have at the theater, and we all laugh. I think they do it to pull the rug out from under us. He feels safe after that.
Yeah.
But he's not.
He even gets shot like a couple of minutes before that, and then, they just keep like hinting that he's going to die, but
he got shot by like the authorities too, and he was gives him that look.
Really?
I remember him. I love this character. I want him back. I feel Wanda's grief, and I feel so bad for the story she goes on. She loses everything time and time again. It makes sense that she becomes as evil as she does, and the Multiverse of Madness, and WandaVision. But this movie had a lot going on, and there was a lot of action. We did learn that Hawkeye had a family. They went there and it was a safe house for them. And I like the part where Captain America and Tony are chopping wood together. And
I have that too. That's the best part. Don't touch my pile. Don't take from my pile.
I'm sorry, I won't take from your pile. That's yours. But can you talk about that? Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. Stop. You were quoting the movie.
Yeah.
I'm gonna die of laughter right now because I thought you were like talking about piles, like a pile of like ideas for the episode we're having right now. It's like, no, you can't talk about that. No, you look at the two piles and
right. Captain America's is like 5 times bigger than
I love that, dude. That is such a funny little touch. And he's like, don't take from my pile.
It's like such subtle comedic relief during like a very emotional time. It just fits so well.
Oh, man, he got me giddy. I like when Tony sees Nick Fury in the shed, and Nick Fury has this little hat. I've always admired his little hat in this movie. And I don't know if he ever wears like little hats again, but Nick Fury, like, I know, dude. It's just so funny. I remember when the trailer came out, and he was even in there with the little hat, and I tweeted, "That's my favorite Super Bowl ad." I like Nick Fury's little hat, and then like a Nick Fury fan account replied, "Thanks, Eric. Me too." It was like a great story for me. All right,
I got a hypothetical for you.
I love it.
So, you're friends with Tony. You're friends with Tony Stark. You hang out in his lab, whatever. Yeah. You know all about what's going on. You know that he accidentally made Ultron this murder bot, and that he recovered Ultron's body. Would you let him try to create Vision?
I would be in huge disagreement of it if I were. I want to say yeah, because I love Iron Man and all that, but like, it's crazy to do that.
Dude, it's doubling down of the worst kind.
You might just give him a teammate, and like everything will end instantly. And plus, it's a way better and stronger body that he has now. It's like $1 billion vibranium robot. So like,
it's like easily the biggest gamble ever.
It's my favorite thing when Scarlet. It's not my favorite thing. I probably didn't notice Wanda, and I underplayed I'm like, okay, she's the new talent. Like, I didn't think about the years of story we get from her. So like, her lines mean a lot more to me in this movie. Like, she when Captain tells her she asks Cap, where's the cradle? And she's like, oh, it's gonna be with Stark at Stark Towers. And she's like, no, you can't let him do it. He will literally. What does she say about Ultron? She says like he will do anything to make sure the world is safe. Anything. What?
No, that's what she says.
Yeah, and Cap even looks devastated because he's like, "You're right." Like he says like a "you're right" look on his face, and cut to Tony, and we don't even know he's doing this yet, but he is. like Wanda's right. She knows Tony a little bit too much. I don't know how she knew that.
Right.
Well, she did witness him pick up that scepter triumphantly, and it said Age of Ultron. I don't think she planned on that. She planned on having him ruin the Avengers from the inside, I guess. She's a way bigger player in this movie than I ever gave her credit for.
Definitely. No, she's an integral part, no question.
But your hypothetical was your side with Iron Man or no. It's got to be no. I wouldn't. I'd worry.
How could you? You know, I mean, like, dude, that's a bad idea.
Some mad scientist shit right there. But Thor comes in and affirms it, and that makes it really cool. Like, yeah, well, and you know what Thor tells him? He's like, well done, Stark. Well done. Like, earlier in the movie, Thor was choking Tony out because he lost the scepter, and his fucking, like, his trip to Asgard back home was delayed because they have to go get the scepter again. He's like, and Tony starts laughing, and you know, there's that line where it's where Tony says like, how do we beat him together? And if we lose, we'll do that together too. Steve Rogers, one of the most bestest lines ever. I love that line is reiterated when Iron Man is saved by Captain Marvel in Endgame, and he says, we'll lose together, and you weren't there. And it's setting up an arc for the Avengers movies. So if you want to watch Avengers 1, 2, Infinity War, Endgame, you could. And the story would tell itself. Like, there's enough info in all those movies to give you a concise story. That's for the general audience. Yet they put things in between all of them to make them better. They have character dynamics. And I don't know why DC couldn't figure this out. God bless them with James Gunn. And this movie, I even said it at the time, it's criminally underrated. It's as good as the first one, but not really. I mean, the first one's the first one. It's just the fact that it's the first one, it's more special. But some pretty next level stuff goes down. I don't want to rant without giving you any room to talk to you. Do you have anything on the episode that you want to talk about?
I mean, I got another question for you.
Right. You see, it's funny. I'm the host. I should have questions for you, and you come prepared enough to have questions for me. I love you for that.
It's just small things that I noticed that I never really considered. Okay, so when they're all doing their game to pick up the hammer, you know, everyone's going through to pick up Mjolnir.
Yes.
And Steve goes to pick it up, and it, like, moves. There's no question it moves, and then Thor gives this look like, oh, shit.
Dude, yeah, right.
So, do you think, I know this is kind of crazy, but do you think Steve intentionally did not pick it up to, I don't know, make Thor not feel bad or something? Because
absolutely.
What changed with Steve to make him all of a sudden worthy in a future movie? You know, he's the same Steve. So do you think, like, he could have done it, but he didn't?
He was always worthy. Like, he's pure. That's why they made him Captain America.
So he's so modest that he was just pretended that he couldn't do it?
Yeah. I 100% believe that. And if I'm wrong, correct me, anyone. In our new feedback section, just go to the episode description, click the link, and it's right there. Stay positive. What?
It's a good plug.
Thanks. Yeah, I was supposed to do it at the beginning of the episode. Don't remember if I did. But anyway, what we were talking about was Steve Rogers. What were we talking about?
Like, I was talking about, like, if Steve was so modest that he pretended like he couldn't pick up Mjolnir, but he knew that he could.
Oh, yeah. I definitely, definitively 100% know in my mind that he was able to pick up that hammer. Think about the kind of guy Steve is. He knows Thor. He knows Thor probably has a little bit of an ego. I mean, like, he's not a moron at all by any means, Captain America. And he's a very humble guy. So he doesn't want that kind of attention, you know? He doesn't want to...
Right.
He's not
want to show him up to make him, like, less than...
Yeah. Honestly, that's bad team dynamics. That would be without. It's something I would say by accident and really offend Thor. Like I'd be like, oh, like that's why I'm probably not worthy, and he's worthy because.
No, you make a good point. That in itself is what makes him worthy.
Yeah, exactly. I like that Iron Man and War Machine are both trying to get it. Like it's just Iron Man with his glove, then Iron Man and War Machine with his glove.
Right.
That's so good.
At the end, they're talking about like putting it in an elevator, and that because the Vision is a machine, so it doesn't really count.
Right. The elevator is such a good point. And the fact that he's a machine, the impact on the Avengers. What do you think of the way the team was falling apart, even though they won? Like actual events of this movie leads into Civil War, which divides the Avengers. Like if this didn't happen, that wouldn't have happened, and that wouldn't have happened. Like it's one of those situations. You know what I mean?
Right.
Do you think there would have been a way that they could have done this without losing so many civilians? Like I don't know what they would have done, because when Tony's going over the ways to stop this thing, it's like you can reverse the thrusters, but then it will dissipate the whole city, and they had like no options. But if you look at it from an even further outside eye, this is all the Avengers' fault. Like Tony Stark created this, and it's destroying everything. On paper, that looks really bad. But we love our characters, so like when we're on that journey with them, we're not thinking about the destruction of superhero fights. That's why Civil War is so good, and it comes back. Everything comes back into play. And do you got any like tangent-worthy notes? Can you out tangent me?
I got a bunch. Okay, so can we talk about Maria Hill?
Yes.
So, all right, just want to say, great character. Everything she's in, really enjoyed. And, like, just seeing her again just kind of brought back the bad taste of Secret Invasion.
Oh, I see. I didn't think you were going to go there. Spoiler alert for Secret Invasion. You would be disappointed. You might as well just have us tell you the spoiler because...
Well, you've already said spoiler warning.
Yeah, so skip ahead 5 a minute. Okay.
But yeah, so Maria Hill dies in Secret Invasion, and I feel like, she's such a great character and such a great, like, legacy character that, I don't know. It just, like I said, it kind of leaves me with a bad taste knowing that that's the, like, how she went out.
It makes me kind of sick. I wish they could just erase Secret Invasion.
I can't remember his name. I want to say Colton? Who's the other S.H.I.E.L.D. guy that died in the first movie?
Coulson. Colton makes me think of the guy from Screen Crush. Colton Ogbar.
Thinking of. But no, when Coulson died, like that was huge, and it really had a huge impact on the team and the movie. And I felt like it was just a lost moment in Secret Invasion. So,
I love when Owen Wilson brings that up to Loki, and they're showing the Avengers, and Loki was like, "The last person who said that to me wasn't so lucky." And Mobius is like, "Oh, you mean Agent Phil Coulson, the man they literally avenged, to like the first assembled and avenged for?" Like the way he said it's so funny, man, so funny. What do you think of Ultron as a villain overall?
Kind of similar to what I was saying about how it's not much of an age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Days. I mean, the character itself I thought was great. I thought like his lines, like, his Pinocchio lines, like, "There are no strings on me." Like, It was cool. It was chilling. I was like,
ominous.
This is kind of creepy.
Yeah.
But like, I kind of feel like he was defeated kind of easy.
Kind of
easy.
They had to destroy everyone.
Right.
The moment where Thor asks, "That all you got?" and then like all of them start running towards him, and Cap's like, "You just had to ask." I love that part. I think that is a huge scary threat that if one of them touches the core, the whole city falls. So that like ultimate battle scene where they slow motion fight for like 15 straight seconds and follow the whole team, like it's that kind of shot that like it just satisfies you on a different level as a fan of the series. Like,
definitely, it kind of mirrors that first shot when they're taking out the Hydra base.
So true. So true. So true. I'm stoked to be talking about this with you, Tej. I feel like we've talked about a lot of this movie. You said you have a bunch of things written down, and I'm talking a lot, and I'd like to hear more of your thoughts.
All right, how about this? I got some fun facts.
Yeah, well, TJ's fun facts.
So, I don't know if you knew this, but Scarlett Johansson was pregnant during the filming of Age of Ultron.
Whoa. I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. Apparently, they did a lot of her shots, like, early in her pregnancy. They tried to get them out of the way before she showed so much, but...
They did a great job. I did not ever think she looks pregnant. On the contrary, I thought she looked fantastic.
Oh, definitely. Okay. Another one. Wanda and Pietro are supposed to be 16 years old.
What? Really?
Yes. Isn't that kind of questionable?
I don't think that's...
It's true, bro.
Is it in the comics like that, or is it like actually in the movie?
I don't know where specifically they say, but according to IMDb, they are 16 years old.
Oh, man. Okay, so let me think. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. That means she'd be 24 when WandaVision starts. I guess that makes sense.
I guess so.
That's crazy. How do you know that? Where'd you get that fact?
I just was looking up trivia about it.
That's crazy. I like that, dude. I didn't know that. That's
all right, cool. I got one more for you. So there's this scene where, they're talking about Claw, and they pull up his file.
Yes.
And in like small letters, it says former member of Intelligentsia. Oh. And so Intelligentsia has not been mentioned up until She-Hulk. So it's kind of like maybe they
really
thinking about that, or at least they had some idea of that group being formed.
Is that the site that she's like being exposed on?
So Intelligentsia is like that weird group of loser guys who are like trying to...
It looked a lot like Reddit.
DNA.
Yeah, I remember.
So, yeah.
I think that's really cool if they have that in there, man. That's like an Easter egg. It's like an Easter egg, bro. I like She-Hulk so much more than so many people. If someone told me they like Secret Invasion, I'd be happy for them. I'm on Fortnite. I like to get some community games going at one point in the future when we have it. Ultron was defeated by Vision, the final Ultron. There's rumors that like a few got away. But the scary conversation they have is that Ultron tells Vision that the humans are doomed. And immediately Vision's like, yes, they are. Like what he says, it's a privilege to be among them. I think you missed that. And he tells Vision you're incredibly naive. And he's like, well, I was only born yesterday. And he kills Ultron. What a scene. What a great new hero, Vision. We don't get him long enough. We need Vision back.
Vision Quest is coming. It's going to be part 3 of a trilogy. WandaVision, Agatha All Along.
Oh, my God. If you're listening to this podcast and you guys haven't watched Agatha All Along because you think it's a girly Marvel show or a gay Marvel show, which shouldn't be a problem, I'm going to just tell you, Agatha All Along is one of the best shows, period, that they put out on the Disney Plus. It is fucking good. Okay? That's the one F word we get for this PG-13 podcast episode. Watch that show. It's incredible. Now I'm overhyping it. It's not that good. Just go watch it.
It's good. It's very good. We're not finished with it yet, but it's so far it's very good.
It just had its biggest episode. I don't know if they'll top it. I won't talk any more about it. We're in Ultron still. We're ending Ultron. Any final thoughts? Like notes? You can rant a few notes.
No, I got an outgoing quote for us, and it's kind of like that same Vision Ultron scene at the end.
Yeah.
But I thought it was beautiful, and it's a thing isn't beautiful because it lasts.
That's so right. That's so true. I forgot about that line. I love that. Did you hang up on me after you said that?
That would have been dramatic. That would have been cool.
It would have been kind of like, that would have, but I'd be sad. I mean, I'll just call you back. My voice is really raspy because we've been giggling and goggling about this. My worst fear of any podcast episode is like I would feel so bad if the audience member felt like I left something out. I don't think we talked about like all the little moments in this Battle of Sokovia. I mean, Quicksilver's freaking sacrifice to save Hawkeye was epic, and you didn't see that coming as he dies. I thought that was a really good character death. And just they introduced the character to take him away from us when it seemed like he was going to be like a new staple, a new Avenger.
Right. Definitely felt that way.
And now I miss him and want to see that universe, and I hope he'll come back via the multiverse at some point. We'll get to see him again, so we'll see. Maybe him and Evan Peters, Quicksilver, will like have a Quicksilver battle. Anything can happen in Secret Wars. We're at the peak of Marvel right now. We're coming towards an end of the year for Marvel. Like no more movies, just Agatha, and then we're waiting for Brave New World. So you can bet that we'll be covering in that off season shows like Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, maybe even What If. TJ, it's been a really good time talking to you today about Avengers Age of Ultron. Let's talk about this on your list of favorite Avengers movies. We did this the other day.
So number one for me is Infinity War. And then number two is the original Avengers, which is like incredibly hard to top in itself. And then Endgame and then Ultron. But like I said, they're all great movies.
Beautiful, beautiful list there. Yeah, I definitely I think I put Infinity War number one. Then I had, this is so hard for me. I don't think I can do it. Like Infinity War is the best. Avengers original is the second best. Age of Ultron will be the third, and then Endgame will be the fourth. I don't dislike Endgame at all. It's just a conclusion to my favorite movie, Infinity War.
Right.
I love freaking Infinity War, and I love the Avengers. I have posters for all four of those movies I'm looking at right now. Because I wouldn't have been able to do that from the top of my head. Jeez Louise. But any final thoughts, my friend TJ, before we part?
Sure. Yeah, okay, I'll just throw out one more thing.
Oh, yeah, throw it out. If you got more to talk about, I'm not trying to rush this.
The post-credit scene with Thanos, I mean, like, that's freaking epic. Fine, I'll do it myself. It really ups the ante for the next movie. You're like, oh, shit, this is getting serious. Because now all the Infinity Stones are in play. We know something big is going on. So I felt like it was a really good post-credit scene, and I feel like a lot of their most recent post-credit scenes, they don't deliver like this one did.
No, that was a huge post-credit scene, and it made you wonder, like, is he going to show up in other movies? But I'd like to think that once Ragnarok happens, I think that's when Thanos goes and gets the gauntlet. Like, I think that scene takes place after Ragnarok. I don't think it takes place, like, anywhere near the timeline of Ultron. That's my guess. Man, well, I'm about to start talking about Avengers Infinity War. That's episode hundo. I just want to thank TJ for being here. Thank you, TJ. And I want to thank this movie for existing, because if it didn't, everything will be rushed. This movie is the nucleus of the MCU in the Infinity Saga at the very least. It sets up stories that we're still watching. And I think as time goes on, the movie will only get better and better. I want to see them make remasters at one point once technology is better. They don't do that for shows and movies, but of movies like this, they should only have the Russo brothers do it, though. Like, just upgrade the graphics. Like, upgrade the graphics on the post-credit scene Thanos from this movie, because like he doesn't look as good as he does in Infinity War. That wouldn't be too hard. And since it's like such a collection, some people will be like, don't touch the films. But for me, I'm like, improve.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the other camp. I think they're good the way they are.
I love that you say that. Sometimes I want to punch you in your perfect little teeth. Is that what Tony Stark says?
Something along those lines.
He doesn't call him little. He doesn't say little teeth. All right. Yeah, so I said my thoughts on Age of Ultron. Has your view of the movie changed, though, TJ, since it first came out? Like, Do you think it fits better, like I was saying, into the like bigger MCU?
Yeah, I do think I think it's grown on me more, and I liked it when I first watched it. So I think that says a lot. Because there's so much connective tissue for everything that goes forward. Like you said, it's kind of like the nucleus of the Infinity Saga. So it's like it's incredibly important to all the characters and story.
Well, yeah, because if this didn't happen, Zemo wouldn't have lost his family, and they wouldn't have gone into Civil War. And then if they weren't divided, they might have been able to beat Thanos, like on his first try.
I didn't even think about Zemo. That's a great point.
He's the reason. Yeah, this birthed a villain. You know, a smart, cunning villain like we've never seen before. I talked about Civil War like a month ago. Always willing to go back and talk about stuff though. But I'd say it's a pretty great place to wrap it up. I want to thank everyone who's joined us today, including TJ, which I've said 5 times. This is an experimental, like, not uncut episode, which will have a few tiny little cuts. And I want to remind you that we have a feedback box on our description for your episode. Click it, give us your thoughts, constructive criticism, but theories as well. Anything Marvel related you want to just nerd out about, send it on over. It might be on the show. If you don't want it to be on the show, say so. And this has been Eric and TJ with you on Marvel Maniac and MCU After Show. TJ, can I get you to say the final line?
Sure. What an honor.
Of course. You're a part of it.
Avengers, disassemble.
That's it. I'm cutting it.